Hi guys, it's Ankita. Welcome to my channel. In this video, I am going to recommend books. I've never done a recommendation video before, so I'm really excited to do this one. So this is specifically, if you love a certain book series, then I'm going to recommend you a series that I think you will like. Let's get started. If you love reading Game of Thrones, you will definitely love reading The Queen's Thief. There could be a number of reasons why you loved reading Game of Thrones, but if you loved it because of its political intrigue, amazing dialogue, which I think is really good, George R.R. Martin really writes some brilliant dialogues and amazing characters as well. So if you love Lord of the Rings because of those reasons, then I'm pretty sure you will love The Queen's Thief series. This is a difficult series to recommend because the first book is a bit of a drag. Actually, let me take that back. It is not a drag. It is just a story that requires you to have patience, and we all know that patience is rewarded most of the times, and it was definitely rewarding when I read this series. First book introduces us to a one-of-a-kind character, certainly my favorite character ever, and this is even about Aragorn because I love Aragorn in The Lord of the Rings, and I love Tyrion Lannister in the Game of Thrones and Jon Snow, right? But Eugenides, I call him Eugenides in the Queen Thief series is so good. He is clever and he knows exactly what he wants. And we see Eugenides as a very loyal person. And then we see him face these challenges head on. And he just grows into this amazing person. It's just such a brilliant story. And the writing is something that I really aspire to achieve. Writing is flawless. Trust me when I say every word, every sentence in this series adds to the story, adds to the plot. The author is not wasting your time. A lot of people misunderstand the first book, but trust me, and if not me, the first book has won the Newbery Medal. So, there you go. I love all the books that have won Newbery Medals. The third book in this series is the only book that I have reread back to back. Okay, so I finished reading it and I couldn't believe the perfect execution of the book. I was just blown away by the storytelling, by the story itself, by all the characters. As soon as I finished this book, I picked it up again and reread every word in the book. I read it from the front cover to the back cover, and oh my goodness, I'll do that again. I should definitely do like a readathon for the series. It's my favorite series of all times, except for Lord of the Rings, I guess. But there is again no comparison between the two. Just to give you some background, it is a very character-focused book with a lot of political intrigue. It is heavily inspired by the Byzantine Empire. There is some romance in this. The author has created a mythology, like from scratch, a mythology that is very much ingrained in the story. I think that it just requires so much precision and perfection to achieve something of that sort. For me, it's just next level writing. Such a brilliant series. I cannot recommend this enough. I'll just keep on gushing about it till the very end of time. Let's move on to the next one. If you have loved reading the Twilight series, which I think by now everyone has either read the series or watched the movies or done both. Anyways, if you enjoyed reading the Twilight series, which I am definitely guilty of enjoying back then. I think it was a decade or so ago. I really did enjoy it, but my perspective has definitely changed. But I think if you love reading Twilight series, I think you should read the All Souls trilogy, which is, I'm sorry to say this, but it is so much better than the Twilight series. The vampire he's a little bit reasonable than Edward Cullen. Also, trilogy is dark academia. It is set in Oxford, well, partially set in Oxford, and then the story moves to another continent, and then it moves back to England in another time. So there's time travel in this. There are not only vampires in this book, but there are also witches, and Matthew Claremont is obsessed with Diana Bishop, who is a witch. And I absolutely loved the character of Diana Bishop. She is so strong and opinionated. I think she makes a perfect match for Matthew Claremont. Well, we all know vampires can be unreasonable and controlling, and I think Diana is so badass. Anyway, my favorite book in this series is the second book, and no, you have to read these books in order. Even with the Queen Thieves series, do read all of them in the order, just to make sure you don't miss out on anything. They are not standalones. And I actually love the second book so much because it involves time travel. It is set in 16th century Europe. There are literary characters, like famous literary characters, and then there's monarchy, and it just transports you back to that time. And I think it's brilliantly done. I was not so crazy about the last book, but again, it definitely is a series that I would recommend. There's a TV series based on these books. I think it's called The Discovery of Witches. I watched it and I did not like it. I think it is quite monotone, whereas the books have a mix of both that serious tone to it, as well as there's some light fluffy stuff as well. There's nice good romance, which I think is kind of lacking in the TV series, but the romance is really good in the books. If you loved reading the Lord of the Rings series or watching the movies, and you loved the relationships in the Lord of the Rings, I think you will definitely love The Battle Mage by Peter Flannery. Falco is very much like Frodo. And so in this book, we follow the story of Falco Dante. I love the name, by the way. His name is so appropriate, so apt for who he is as a person and who he becomes. Frodo has Sam with him throughout his journey, the same way Falco has his friend Malaki, who sticks with him till the very end. Falco is a very sickly boy, and he's a son of an infamous man who basically was driven mad, and he murdered someone. Despite of his sickness, he takes up the responsibility of a really difficult task, and we see Falco change into a completely different person. Or rather than changing, he just grows into this really strong character. He grows into the hero of this story. And let me just tell you, the writing is so clean. The author definitely has a unique way of writing, a unique tone. And I really liked that in this book. And the good thing is that Lord of the Rings is a trilogy, whereas this is like just one chunky book. I think it is around 650 pages or so, but it is just a book that you won't be able to put down because you want to know what happens next. There are dragons, there's a beautiful relationship between men and dragons, which is kind of explored, and it is something that men are trying to understand in this story. There is magic in this. There's a school of martial arts or war, and there is this girl in this who is so badass. I really liked her, and it's just overall a really lovely story, which I think deserves so much recognition. This morning I was on Goodreads trying to look up the name of Falco's friend, and I just saw that it has a 4.45 rating on Goodreads. So you can imagine how good the book is. It deserves recognition. And I am really grateful that I'm able to recommend this book on my channel. So do give this book a try if you love fantasy fiction, if you love Lord of the Rings. I am pretty sure you'll love it. Next, if you love the Harry Potter series, which I understand a lot of people cannot appreciate it any longer because of the author's comment, but at some point, if you loved the Harry Potter series, I'm pretty sure you will love the Black Witch Chronicles. Now, I have to say the big difference between these two is that there's a slow burn romance in this series, but they are similar in the sense that just like the Harry Potter series, this one is also set in a school, and however, I think it is high school. It is set in a fantastical world where there's a lot of bigotry, gender inequality, racism. So the story in the Black Witch Chronicles is definitely a commentary on the present day racism, bigotry, and politics in our society. And unlike the Harry Potter series, the Black Witch Chronicles is definitely more inclusive as well. I think it's great, but because it has a lot of romance in it, it can be considered more of a chick lit, although I disagree. I think there are a lot of men who love reading romance as well. So it's just that I think that very few of them profess their love for romance. Anyways, that's quite an unpopular opinion I have. So these were some of my recommendations, and I really hope you give them a go. And thank you so much for watching this video, and please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Until then, take care.